People think that FEMA comes to rescue people during a natural disaster, but in reality, FEMA is condemning people's properties to help developers get a hold of the land. That's right, FEMA's not showing up to help you rebuild your life. They're showing up to condemn your property because they got some new condos they want to put in. The developer land grab has started in Florida. FEMA has said that any mobile home that has had flood destruction has to be condemned. Already in Bradenton Beach, Florida, a particular mobile home park affecting nearly 100 residents is being told that because their mobile homes flooded, they cannot rebuild. They're being forced to condemn it. If you've been watching my videos, you may remember that I told you guys that the day a hurricane hit this area, the developers were eager to convince the county to start condemning trailers because they want the land it sits on. This is developer land grabs, forcing people to flee their homes, not letting them rebuild so they can do a land grab. However, there is a law that can save the people who are being forced out of their homes. A very little known law, a state statute in Florida. I personally went through the experience of Collier County trying to condemn my property. And I found somebody who told me a specific state statute that prevents counties from forcing you out of your home. State Statute 320.8232 establishes a uniform standard for the building code of mobile homes. However, any mobile home built before that is not able to be forced to comply with the new building regulations. The city of Bradenton Beach is telling the people that own these mobile homes that they have to elevate them to above 12 feet, a logistically impossible feat considering the compact nature of this mobile home park and its location on an island. However, it may be possible that many of these mobile homes in this park were built before the building code. See, a mobile home isn't a house. It's actually not regulated by the county's building codes, but by the Department of Motor Vehicles, because any mobile home built before 1968 does not fall under the county ordinances. It actually falls under the Department of Motor Vehicles. It is not a house. It is considered an actual trailer, a vehicle regulated by the Department of Motor Vehicles. So if you live on one of these islands and your mobile home was built before 1968, all you have to do is send an email to the county with this specific statute and they will leave you alone. I myself found myself in that same exact situation with Collier County, Florida, down in Naples. At that time, the county was trying to condemn my trailer for damages that the property had. Exactly what's happening right now to these people here in Bradenton, Florida. Turns out that after doing some research, the county has no jurisdiction over your mobile home because your mobile home, if it's built before that date, existed before the establishment of the building code. Because it was around before the building code, and it was not a house, it's a trailer, the county cannot force you to comply with their new requirements. It specifically states that in the state statute. Therefore, if you are in one of these counties and your mobile home is being condemned, find out how old your mobile home is. And if your mobile home was built before 1968, they cannot force you to comply with any regulation. Many times, the county will force you to condemn the property. Other times, they give you code enforcement violations for your property not being up to their current code. However, if you know about this state statute, you can actually get them to stop giving you citations because it's outside of their jurisdiction. Despite the fact it's outside of their jurisdiction, if you comply and let them give you these citations, they'll go as far as condemning your property, leaving you homeless when legally they don't have the right to do it. So again, before this hurricane happened, I was already telling my audience that when a hurricane hit this area, that the developers were going to start to condemn mobile homes in order to redevelop the land. So this isn't a new idea that all of a sudden I came up with. Without a doubt, we know what their intentions are. because this was already pre-established on my YouTube channel. We've had this conversation before that the day we get hit by a hurricane, they're going to start to condemn trailers because the developers want these lands. So there isn't any mystery about what the intention of the city of Bradenton Beach is. The developers want that land. The city of Bradenton Beach is involved in a disgusting land grab. They sat down the owners of these properties and told them, hey, by the way, we're going to condemn all these properties because FEMA said they were underwater, so we have to condemn them. I can assure you that it's possible that among these properties are properties that are exempt from this because of this state statute, and nobody is going to tell these people that they don't have to comply with this demand, a demand that stems from greedy developers. Figuring out how to steal these people's homes from them was already in the works, and this hurricane was a perfect opportunity for these developers to finally push these people off their houses so they can take the valuable land that these mobile homes sit on, a barrier island right across from the Gulf of Mexico. We knew from previous videos that I have been giving you guys that the counties would start to condemn properties right after the hurricane in order to rezone these lands. See, the landscape of Bradenton, Florida has more mobile homes than anywhere in the state, and the only way that these mobile home parks can get rid of the residents is if you condemn the properties. So when an entire mobile home park floods, the county comes in, condemns everybody's properties, all these mobile homes have to go away, all these people become homeless because they don't own the land, they own the structure that's on the land, and the structure gets condemned. They're basically being forced out of their homes. Now, I've warned people about buying these types of properties in the state of Florida, so if you've been watching my YouTube channel, you would know about this danger. But even when I owned my property down in Collier County, I owned the land underneath my mobile home. They still wanted to condemn my property. So if you're wondering why FEMA hasn't come and given people those blue tarps to fix their roofs or any help, but then they come along and condemn people's properties, this whole thing is in the bag. FEMA is now working for the developers, not to help the people in an emergency, but to enable the developers to get new real estate by condemning properties that they need out of their way. Hey FEMA, my property got destroyed. Can you help me? Oh, sure. Oh, let's get your house condemned. Oh, you can't live there anymore. Hey, neither can none of your neighbors. Oh, by the way, let's rezone this now. It can't be a mobile home park anymore. It has to be luxury condos now. It's not a secret that the city of Bradenton, Florida, with more mobile homes than anywhere else in the United States, is a hindrance to these developers. I mean, Manatee County has grown tremendously, yet in the heart of the urban core are thousands of mobile homes that are outdated. It would be easy to get rid of these mobile homes and put in luxury condos and other land uses. After all, the suburbs are sprawling far inland, but the urban core of the city is occupied with a land use of mobile homes, particularly 55 and older. This is the place where disabled elderly people can afford to live in Florida affordably. It is one of the few options that elderly people have in housing in a market that is extraordinarily expensive. But they're in the way of builders and developers. How could we possibly get rid of all these mobile home parks? Well, builders and developers have been patiently waiting for a hurricane to destroy Bradenton so they can run their land grab. This has been in the works for a while, and what's shocking is how blatantly open, how quick they're moving on to the opportunity to start condemning these properties so that the people that live in these homes end up on the streets and homeless. They can do a land grab and practically not have to pay for it, and they can build their new apartments on the land that they're going to steal from the elderly. Now, this has been in the works for a while. They were just waiting for the perfect opportunity, and nothing's going to stop them. Not my YouTube video, not a news conference. Nothing is going to get in the way of their plans. This is a land grab that they've been waiting for a while, and they're pleased that finally they're able to get rid of these mobile homes. Now, to be fair, from a safety and urban planning perspective, these mobile homes really are more than just an eyesore, a burden to these communities. They're unsafe, they're unsightly, they're overpacked, the population density is very high. Well, there really isn't even real estate value to these properties. However, despite that, you don't have the right to just take somebody's home and leave elderly people homeless on the streets. And if you take a look at the city of Bradenton, it's not about land use or aesthetics of the city or even safety. They don't give a crap about any of that. The motive, the intention is to unhouse these people to take their properties. And that's where it's wrong. I'll be the first to admit that having thousands of mobile homes in the center of a large urban area in Florida near the beach is impractical. It's unsafe. It's an eyesore. I'll admit that. But they don't care about those aspects. They care about stealing these properties so that they can get their kickbacks from the developers. It's the motive and the intention that's a problem. I've been making videos now for 2 years warning the people that live in these communities that this is coming. I've been warning people in Bradenton. I've made videos about this. Hey, the day we get hit by a hurricane, you know they're going to condemn your house and you won't be able to return to it. But nobody listened. Now they're finding out too late that ahead of them isn't a rebuilding process. It's a legal battle to keep their properties. FEMA isn't coming to put a tarp over your roof. They're coming to take away your roof, leave you homeless on the streets by condemning your property, enabling developers to go in and change the zoning for something more convenient for them. They knew this was coming. Why do you think they're building, 6,000 houses there in West Bradenton? Do you think the fact that these malls that are empty, they haven't got knocked down either? What are they waiting for? You think they don't have a plan for the city of Bradenton? Do you think these mobile home parks are going to be around forever? I lived in Naples, Florida. Those mobile home parks are all gone. Bonita Springs, Florida used to have mobile home parks all over, just like Bradenton. Right behind the Kmart Plaza used to be a mobile home park. They got rid of that after a storm, and now it's a luxury apartment complex. In the center of Bonita Springs, there used to be mobile home parks, just like there are in Bradenton, Florida. After a few hurricanes, they said, oh, this is dangerous. We can't have this here. It's unsightly. The same thing we're talking about here today. And today, it's a beautiful park in the center of the city. And I'm not going to lie. It's better to have a beautiful park in the center of your city than it is to have a bunch of trailers from the 1960s. It's unfortunate that these people have nowhere else to go and they're not being provided anywhere else to go. It is a land grab, and their motive isn't beautification. Their motive is land grabification. And they're smart about this. This doesn't happen overnight. They're going to knock down these mobile home parks, and they're going to be empty lots for 6, 7, 8 years. They're going to make sure that you forget that they knocked down these parks. So it's not like they're going to knock down these parks, and next week you're going to see a brand new luxury apartment complex there. No, that's a long process. They know they can't do it that way. At least in Bonita Springs, they knocked it down. They let it sit for many years, make sure you forgot that they existed. And now, many years later, it's that they're putting in these luxury apartments where these mobile home parks were. The only difference is that's Bonita Springs, where people are a little bit more cordial. I don't think that exists here in Bradenton, Florida. I think the corruption here is so ripe that they're going to knock down these mobile homes, and by the end of next year, we're going to see new buildings going into these areas because the blatantness of the corruption in this county is just unmatched, to be honest. Now, like I said, in other places in Florida, they let these lots sit there for a few years to make sure you forget about it. But this is Manatee County, Florida. Corruption here is so ripe. It's ripe, baby. I don't think we should have a Tropicana plant. We should have a Jarrito plant up in this mug. Also to consider is that in the case of Bonita Springs, Florida, they went with a beautification process of creating parks where most of the mobile home parks are. Not all of them. In the case of Bradenton, Florida, I highly doubt it. They got real estate plans. And I'll be honest with you, part of the charm of Anna Maria Island is the fact that there are mobile homes on the island. It's the fact that there are these cute little beach cottages from the 50s and 60s. If it was all brand new construction, that's the charm of Anna Maria Island, is that it's still somewhat trapped in time. If you get rid of the mobile home parks and you get rid of the cottages, it becomes another Fort Myers Beach or a Panama City Beach. The real beauty and charm of this area of coastal Bradenton is that it was trapped in a time capsule a time capsule that this Hurricane Milton and Helene have unraveled, and of course the greed of developers that destroys everything that's authentically Florida. In theory, it's a mobile home park. They could park a camper there for all we give a crap. It's legally the same structure, more related to a vehicle than it is a camper, but we know what their intentions are. Again, we could talk about beautification and city planning and building and development, but none of that is the real intention. The real intention is to get these people out of this real estate because they want it. And it's sad for these people that work their whole lives to obtain this slice of real estate only to have it snatched up by the developer. And I'm not against beautification, land development that makes sense. All that contributes to a better place to live. I want a beautiful Bradenton, but you can't take something away from somebody that you're not entitled to. And you definitely can't do it by stealing their property, just blatantly doing a land grab. It's not appropriate. That's not the way you should do things. But again, Manatee County, Florida, ripe with corruption. If you live in Manatee County, Florida or Hillsborough County and you're facing a condemned mobile home, look and see how old it is. And remember that statute that I told you, and it will get them off your back. And in fact, next time they'll never come again. They'll make a note in their system saying this person sent us this statute. Never again are you going to get another code violation, which is a huge problem if you own a mobile home anyways, is that the county is always trying to give you violations for code enforcement. They can't do it anymore. In reality, if your mobile home meets that criteria, they can't even make you pull a permit to rebuild. They can't make you get a notice of commencement. None of that. When they come to bother you, you have to tell them to go find the Department of Motor Vehicles. And they don't want to deal with that. They're not going to send a state trooper to your mobile home to make sure it's got running lights, because it's not going to happen. So as obsolete as this law may seem, trust me, it saved my life in Naples. And I hope it can prevent a few people here in this metropolitan area. So spread today's video to people who need it. The state of Florida condemning your property so they can take it from you. I've been warning you guys about this for a long time. If you've been watching my videos, this isn't a surprise. I predicted this before it happened.